The footsteps started at midnight. Heavy, deliberate, circling the tent. When they stopped, we heard breathing. When we heard scraping on the fabric, we knew we had to leave. That's how dozens of campers have described it. Different parks, different seasons, same sound. Footsteps circling the tent at night. It's not wind, not animals, not other people. Because every one of them says the same thing. Whatever was out there was on two legs. Tonight, you'll hear 4 true cases of campers who survived the night and what investigators found the next morning. 4 locations. 4 groups who heard something circling their tent, and 1 chilling pattern connecting them all. Case 1, the 2 sets of footsteps. Location, Glacier National Park, Montana. Date, July 2015. Witnesses, Matthew and Jordan Ellis. Camp type, 2-person dome tent, dispersed site. Ranger case code, 15 GAN 0721C. Matthew and Jordan were brothers. Experienced backcountry hikers. They'd been camping for 10 years, never had an issue. On July 21, 2015, they set up camp about 6 miles off the Bowman Lake Trail, far enough from other hikers to be alone, but close enough to hear water. At 11:48 p.m., Jordan woke up to a crunch. Heavy, slow. Footsteps moving around the tent in a perfect circle. He thought it was a bear. He whispered, "Matt, something's outside." They froze. The sound continued. 1 full rotation, then stopped directly behind Jordan's head. Then they heard another set of steps. Lighter, quicker, keeping distance. 2 sets, circling opposite directions. Matthew turned on his headlamp. The light through the tent wall revealed a shadow. Upright, broad shoulders. It froze when the beam hit. Then silence. Jordan whispered, "It's gone." Matthew shook his head. "No, it's waiting." At 12:22, the first footstep started again. Slow, deliberate. 1 circle, 2. Then something tapped the tent. Not clawing, knocking, like testing. Jordan shouted, "Hey!" Everything stopped. Silence again, for exactly 10 minutes. Then a low, steady breathing started, close enough to fog the fabric. They didn't sleep. At dawn, they unzipped the tent and found 2 sets of footprints, 1 large, 1 smaller, circling the tent in opposite directions. Both human-shaped. Barefoot. Rangers photographed them, filed the report under human interference unverified. 2 weeks later, a separate hiker in the same area reported identical sounds and identical prints. The ranger who logged the file added a single line to the notes. Pattern repeats. Always 2 sets, never intersecting. Case 2, the scraping on the fabric. Location, Ozark National Forest, Arkansas. Date, October 2018. Witnesses, Brooke and Tyler Mason. Camp type, truck top tent, forest access road. Ranger case code, 18-1014-F. Brooke and Tyler weren't superstitious. They were YouTubers, a channel about off-grid camping, sponsored by an outdoor gear brand. They filmed everything. On October 14th, they camped off an unmarked service road near the Mulberry River. Setup was routine. Dinner, drone shots, night cam test. At 12:06 a.m., their GoPro audio caught the first sound. 1 crunch, then another. Footsteps, deliberate, moving around the truck. Brooke whispered, "Coyote?" Tyler shook his head. "Too heavy." They listened for breathing. None. Then scraping. Long, slow drags along the nylon. Fingernail sound. Brooke yelled, "Stop it!" The scraping paused. Then began again, faster, circling. Tyler unzipped the roof vent and shone a flashlight. Nothing. But the scraping didn't move away. It moved up. Over the tent roof. Something climbed. Their truck rocked once, then again. Tyler started the engine. Headlights flooded the trees. No one there. But every branch was perfectly still. No wind. They drove straight back to town, leaving everything behind. When rangers arrived that morning, they found the tent still attached, sides torn by long parallel marks, each exactly 5 feet off the ground. Brooks' GoPro footage was analyzed. Audio spectrogram showed subharmonic frequency fluctuations, consistent with vocalized growling under 30 Hz, below human hearing. Rangers report summary. Physical evidence suggests two-legged motion pattern, bipedal. Contact points equal to tent circumference. Likely human mimicry or behavioral anomaly. Recommendation: restrict area. The access road remains closed. Locals call it Scrape Hollow. Case 3, the thing that walked backwards. Location: Hoh Rainforest, Washington. Date: March 2020. Witnesses: Carla Perez and Hiking Club, 6 total. Camp type: group tent site near Riverbend. Ranger case code: 20319B. Carla's group were seasoned trekkers, annual spring hike since college. 6 people, 2 tents. It rained hard that night, everyone asleep by 10. At midnight, one camper, Nick, woke up needing to pee. He stepped outside and froze. There were footprints circling both tents, fresh, deep. But here's what stopped him cold. The toe impressions pointed inward. Whoever made them had been walking backward. He called Carla. They woke the group. They followed the prints for 30 yards, a perfect loop, circling both tents twice, then veering off into the trees. Then they heard it. Heavy, dragging steps, but reversed, like someone playing movement backward. They called out. Silence. Then branches snapped behind them, but from multiple directions at once. They ran for the fire pit light. Nick tripped and fell. Carla turned back to help and saw a shape between the trees, tall, thin, facing the wrong way. She swore it moved backward, head tilted, chest first, arms slack. They barricaded themselves in the tents until dawn. When rangers arrived, they found the same pattern of prints, backward steps encircling the campsite. Rangers ruled out animals or pranksters due to uniform stride and heel-first depressions. The supervising ranger wrote, "Print spacing irregular, overlapping like mirrored gait. Suggested cause: human imitation, possible sleepwalker." But when he filed his notes later, he included an audio attachment, the group's camp recording from that night. At timestamp 2:13 a.m., the microphone picks up footsteps moving in reverse, with a faint voice whispering, "Are you inside?" The ranger added one more line before sealing the report. "We're not the only ones that circle." Case 4, the breathing that stayed. Location: Allegheny National Forest, Pennsylvania. Date: November 2022. Witnesses: Patrick and Alana Reynolds, plus 1 child. Camp type: family tent, developed campground, off-season. Ranger case code: 22-1105A. Patrick and Alana were camping with their 9-year-old son, James. They'd picked the off-season deliberately, quiet, no crowds. The first 2 nights were fine, cold, silent forest. The third night changed everything. At 11:50 p.m., Patrick woke to the sound of slow footsteps circling their tent. At first, he assumed it was a deer, but it wasn't wandering, it was pacing. Clockwise. Exactly the same distance each time. Alana whispered, "James is asleep." Patrick nodded. Then the footsteps stopped. For 20 seconds, nothing. Then breathing. Deep, steady, coming from the door flap. Patrick reached for his light. Before he could unzip, something exhaled hard against the fabric, warm enough to leave condensation. Alana said it smelled sweet, like fruit rotting. They waited. The breathing faded. Patrick counted to 60, then unzipped the flap. Nothing. But the grass outside was flattened in a perfect circle, 3 feet wide. At dawn, they reported it to rangers. A patrol found no tracks, but their tent exterior was coated in a fine powder that tested as organic cellulose, similar to shed skin. When the ranger cleaned it, the surface underneath was slightly warm to touch. Later, the family's motion light captured one frame at 2:04 a.m., a blur, crouched low beside the tent wall. When enhanced, it appeared to have no facial features. The ranger's final note reads, "Subject circled twice. Returned after 2 a.m. breathing localized to east wall. Incident linked to 18-1014F and 20-0319B by pattern repetition. Advisory: do not camp alone during off-season. 4 locations. 4 nights of circling. 4 different witnesses. None of them alone. Each heard something pacing around their tent. Each described the same behavior, deliberate, rhythmic, 2-legged movement. The sound always begins between 11:45 and 12:15 a.m. Always circles clockwise. Always ends just before dawn. In 3 of the 4 reports, the footprints formed a perfect loop. In 2, cellulose residue was found near fabric seams. And in every case, the witnesses described breathing close enough to feel. Investigators now refer to these as encirclement incidents. Unofficial ranger note: if you hear footsteps pacing your tent at night, don't call out. Don't move. Wait for dawn. Because whatever's circling you isn't trying to get in. It's trying to make sure you're still there,